YouTube, what's going on? Your purpose must come before your relationship. This is part of our book series reviews of The Way of the Superior Man. So this is episode number 2. Tune into episode number 1 if you haven't seen it. You know, there's just something about being that guy. Okay? Some guys, they're not that guy. Some guys are that guy. And there's something about being a guy that genuinely has conviction in himself, in his purpose, in his faith, in God, in his business, in the way that he conducts himself, and the way that he really kind of just excels through life. There's just something about that. There's something about that type of guy. And a lot of chicks are going to run into you on this path when you're very disciplined, when you have your head down, when you're glowing and you're not showing. They're going to be attracted to that, right? And they want to, in essence, latch to you because of that glow. This mindset that a lot of women have is very temporary. They like who you are in this moment. They like the fact that you're on top of your stuff. And they like this version of you. There are certain versions of yourself that are simply more attractive because you are just on one. You're just doing any and everything that you need to be doing in this life. And you're doing it in a cool way or a way that attracts other people. This is where guys usually self-sabotage themselves the most. And it's usually in the form of a relationship. The reason you want to be on top of your game in all types of relationships when you're on this purpose, when you're on this path, is because she doesn't even want to be number one. They say they want you to be like laid up with them all the time and hanging out with them all the time, texting them good morning all the time and all this stuff. But that's not the reason they're attracted to you right now. Does that make sense? She's not attracted to you because you're simping and you're, you know, and when I say simping, I mean in the literal, like you're doing too much, right? She's not attracted to you because of that. She was attracted to you because you had motion, you had aura, you had something going for yourself. You had your finances together, your business together, your looks together, and you're still going. Then she steps out into the real world and she sees all these dudes that are kind of lackluster in comparison. Not lackluster in general, but you're just on a different type of path. And she's like, damn, there's just something about this dude. Like, damn, he has a nice car. Damn, he smells good. He looks good. He dresses well. He speaks well. That's different than most guys. And that's the trap, though. Because like I'm saying, these women, and they will get more and more and more attractive as you continue to grow, will try to latch to you. And a lot of guys end up sabotaging their entire career and trajectory to be with a chick. Look at Shannon Sharp. I mean, like, that guy had so much respect just in general before what he did. And he had to not only take a public shaming, but he had to pay out this chick however many, I don't know if it was tens of mils or hundreds of mils or whatever it was. He paid her M's, bro. That's crazy. Because he's not on his purpose. He's not locked in. You got to stay locked in. It's going to get difficult. It's easy to do the armchair quarterback thing and say, well, I would have done this. I would have done this in his situation when you're not really there. Because the truth is, bro, like I'm saying, the chicks are only going to get better. They're only going to get more attractive. They're only going to get more frosty. Okay? And if we're not frosty or if we're not colder, they're going to run through you. Like, everything that you built, bro. Everything. So you need to be careful about that. Now, maybe from an even less dramatic sense, let's say it's just a girl, like a girlfriend, like I was saying, right? Again, the trap about girlfriends is they love who they came into the relationship with. That's who they love. That's the version, the illusion that you basically painted to them. That's who they got into a relationship with. That's who they want to stay in a relationship with or better. It's not necessarily that women are hypergamous. People are hypergamous in general. When you start making more money, you want a better girl, right? You want a girl that looks better. When you start getting on your grind, when you start getting on your purpose, when you start doing all these things, you want a chick that looks really good, right? That's hypergamy. So it's not just that women are like that. They're in love with this person that you painted to them. And you need to either do as good or better. And as we know, it's not very possible to always just be stagnant. So you're going to go down or up. Like, you got to continue to do better. Because it doesn't matter if a ring is on your finger or what, man. Just because you beat the game doesn't mean New Game Plus doesn't exist. Just because you beat the game doesn't mean multiplayer doesn't exist. It's multiplayer out here, bro. And the badder your chick, the more these guys are going to try and snipe. So when you're on your purpose, not only are you giving your full gift to the world, not only are you pleasing your woman, because again, that is who she loves. That's the version of yourself. I've listened to some people just say some ridiculous stuff, bro. I've heard some guys on these like dating podcasts and stuff. This is terrible advice, by the way. But they say, kind of do the used car salesman tactic trick, right? Like come in really hot, come in really strong, act like somebody you're not, because eventually that illusion is going to come undone. The illusion shouldn't actually be an illusion though. See, that's the thing. You need to really become this. You need to really be about this. Like this chick, for example, I found her very attractive. Very attractive. We were texting back and forth. When I noticed that she wasn't giving me that same energy that I wanted, I took a step back for 3 weeks. And the first thing that she said was, "It's crazy that you didn't even text me once. You didn't even think about me." And I'm like, it's not that I didn't think about you. I just had other stuff going on. That's all. I'm not saying that I'm like a celebrity or anything. I'm not. The same way you're not a celebrity. You could have picked up the phone and called me earlier. But we're not celebrities. We just have stuff going on. That's just how I feel. Like, I feel like my purpose here is not to text you and convince you to be in a relationship with me, If anything, you should convince me why I should be in a relationship with you. That's how I feel. That's the mindset that I have when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I really am weighing the optics of what is this person going to contribute to my life that I can include in my purpose, because you're going to come into my world that I'm building, right? If you're going to detract from my purpose and my vision that I've very specifically written down and built and I'm working towards, I don't need to be with you. I'm cool. I'm chilling. I always just come back to like, why are we doing this? Like, what is the point? The way I see it, you have a gift. You need to use these gifts. God is going to ask you why you didn't use these gifts when you get to heaven on Judgment Day. He's going to ask you. He's going to be like, I gave you the ability to sing. I gave you the ability to jump really high. I gave you the ability to do X, Y, and Z. Why did you only do tech sales? You weren't using your talents at all. So I could have just taken my talents and given it to someone else. That's what he's going to ask you. And so you need to really think like, I have these talents and these gifts that I need to use for the universe. And if I don't use them, I am doing I'm not doing just myself a disservice. I'm doing the whole world a disservice. And it gets to a point, like I said, where you need to choose, my purpose or a chick. My purpose or happy wife, happy life. BS. Happy life, happy wife. Not happy wife, happy life, happy life, happy wife. You need to build the happy life that she comes into and she will be happy. It's not complicated to be in a relationship. Let me tell you, the one thing you need to do if you want to be in a happy relationship, you need to have your stuff together. That's all. There's really nothing else to it. You just need to have your stuff together. I'm not saying you need to have $10 million saved in the bank. I'm not saying you need to have 3 different businesses and you need to be juggling this and that. Have you a solid job, look good, hit the gym, eat well, talk decent, and you're fine. And you're fine. And you're better than 99% of guys, especially if you're a white dude. It's a little different for people that look like me. At the end of the day, there's all different types of variables, right? We all have our perks. We're like characters in an RPG. We all have our perks. So you got to use your gifts. You got to use your perks, bro. Do not be one of these guys that just ends up throwing it all away for a temporary chick. Not even like a permanent chick, a temp chick. This, like I said, was episode 2 of our Way of the Superior Man series that we're doing on this channel. I've really been enjoying it, like reading this book again. We'll talk soon. Y'all know what to do. Subscribe, comment, and I'll holla at y'all. Peace.